Welcome to This Explainer. If you're the kind of person who loves figuring out how things tick on both a micro and a macro scale, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're taking a completely unique look at the whole concept of motion. We're going to explore what it actually means to harness your body's energy in a really structured way, and then we're going to completely flip the script. We'll look at the absolutely devastating consequences if motion suddenly came to a screeching halt on a planetary scale. It is a fascinating journey, going from personal empowerment straight to global catastrophe, all through the lens of physics and human endurance. So what happens when you push motion to its absolute limits? That's the ultimate question we're answering today. I mean, think about it. Every single day, you dictate exactly how your body moves through space, right? You can push it to its physical limits, dictating your own heart rate and muscle engagement. But what happens when we zoom way out? What happens when the ultimate moving object, the Earth itself, which is a massive sphere spinning at roughly 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, is subjected to a sudden, catastrophic loss of motion? The contrast between you controlling your own body's movement and the utter helplessness of a planetary standstill is absolutely staggering. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll hit 1, the extremes of motion, 2, 15 minutes of constant movement, 3, the full body standing routine, 4, a 5-second global standstill, 5, devastation of sudden inertia, and finally, 6, surviving the catastrophic halt. Okay, let's dive into this with part 1, the extremes of motion. Balancing time and movement. 15. I want you to just focus on this number for a second, because 15 minutes is often all it takes to completely optimize your physical health, if you structure your motion correctly, that is. Our first source material is this brilliantly designed framework for a 15-minute standing, full-body workout. And what makes this so remarkable is that it requires absolutely zero equipment, no gym membership, and notably, no floor work, which is fantastic because who actually wants to get down on the floor anyway? It's entirely about maximizing vertical human motion within a really tiny, hyper-focused window of time. Moving on to part 2, 15 minutes of constant movement, structuring the standing workout. And this brilliantly illustrates the structural blueprint of that motion. Look at how neatly compartmentalized this is. We've got a brisk 90-second intro to get you set, followed by a 2-minute warm-up phase to prime the joints, things like slow body weight squats and arm circles. Then we hit the core of the routine, which is a solid 10-minute main workout, before finishing up with a 90-second cooldown to safely decelerate your body. What's fantastic about this source is that it notes the entire sequence is designed to be performed to a driving, moderate-tempo instrumental track, specifically sitting at 120 to 130 beats per minute. That auditory cue literally dictates the pace of your physical motion. Section 3, the full body standing routine, 5 rounds of controlled exertion. So the routine rapidly cycles through these 5 specific rounds. Each round is exactly 2 minutes long, and it's broken down into a super intense rhythm, 40 seconds of continuous work followed by 20 seconds of rest. You kick things off with a lower body focus, driving through the floor with squats and reverse lunges. Then you shift gears to core and balance with standing knee to elbow crunches. Step 3 is your cardio burst. This is where you really spike that heart rate with jumping jacks and high knees. Step 4 brings in upper body and core with fast standing punches and plank walkouts. And finally, Step 5 is the full body finisher, featuring these explosive squats to overhead reaches and standing mountain climbers. It is just constant, upbeat, highly choreographed motion. But right before we leave this topic, I want to highlight this absolutely crucial safety note straight from the routine's intro. Modify anytime. Listen to your body. It's there to remind you to shrink your range of motion or just slow down if you need to. And why does this matter? Well, because it emphasizes our total, absolute human control over our own kinetic energy. You are the master of your inertia here. You can start, stop, and modify basically at will. But what happens when that luxury of control is violently taken away? Let's move to the other side of things and see how this builds. On the left, we've got the empowering, controlled reality of our 15-minute workout. But on the right, we have a wildly suspenseful doomsday scenario, 5 seconds of catastrophic planetary inertia. We're transitioning from the ultimate control of motion straight into the ultimate loss of it. Part 4, a 5-second global standstill, total planetary inertia. 5, just 5 seconds. That's literally all it takes. While 15 minutes of exercise builds the human body up, just 5 seconds of a global standstill would completely tear the human world down. So the crucial point is understanding the physics of why this would be so devastating, and it all comes down to inertia. Inertia is basically the physical tendency of objects in motion to stay in motion. If you're standing at the equator, you're actually moving at roughly 1,000 miles per hour through space right now, even if you feel perfectly still. Now, if the solid rock of the Earth suddenly stops, the atmosphere and the oceans do not. They aren't bolted down, right? So they would just continue moving at that original, terrifying speed. Things on the surface don't simply stop safely when the planet does. They get launched forward by their own incredible momentum. Section 5. Devastation of sudden inertia. The timeline of destruction. Now, what's really interesting about this timeline is tracking the exact cinematic progression of the devastation. According to the documentary's meticulous timeline, at the 20-second mark, the Earth mysteriously stops. By minute 130, we see the devastating first second, skyscrapers violently shaking and this immediate massive physical shockwave. By minute 330, the oceans and atmosphere react to their unchecked inertia. By 5:30, the documentary zooms in on the sheer chaos in the skies, airplanes getting tossed around by atmospheric anomalies and satellites losing their delicate orbital balance. And finally, at 7:30, the spinning just violently resumed. To truly grasp the scale here, the simulation details powerful winds sweeping entire continents and massive mega tsunamis just completely consuming the coastlines. I mean, just a moment ago we were talking about safely spiking your heart rate with jumping jacks, but here, a stopped Earth instantly unleashes supersonic winds and massive mega tsunamis, which kind of makes a jumping jack feel a little less impressive, doesn't it? The very air and water we rely on basically become weapons of sheer kinetic energy. Section 6. Surviving the catastrophic halt. Resuming rotation. According to the source's simulation, at that 7:30 mark, the Earth starts spinning again. But, you don't just go back to normal. The source highlights some seriously lingering catastrophic consequences. Dramatic shifts in gravity, failing global communication networks as ground stations are totally wiped out, and satellites, which rely on the Earth's steady rotation and gravity to maintain their orbits, well, they suddenly start plummeting from the sky. The entire global infrastructure that facilitates our modern life would be completely shattered by just 5 seconds of altered physics. Which brings us to the final, provocative question posed verbatim by our documentary source material. Would humanity survive if Earth stopped spinning for just 5 seconds? It's a chilling thought that perfectly summarizes our whole exploration today. We've seen the absolute extremes of motion, from the empowering, disciplined 15 minutes where we command our bodies to move, to the terrifying 5 seconds where planetary physics completely strips us of our autonomy. Motion really is life, but sudden inertia, that's pure destruction. I hope this explainer has left you fascinated by the physical forces that govern our existence, from your living room workout all the way to the orbit of our planet. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.